Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. That's just a small sample of what my next guest had to endure when he was one of the first to question whether COVID-19 could have leaked from the lab in Wuhan. The good news is Tom Cotton is a pretty tough guy. He went from Arkansas to Harvard, he served in the Army, and he's married to a former prosecutor. So he doesn't scare very easily. Still, it does make you wonder why the mainstream media reacted the way they did. Because as it turns out, even his former critics are beginning to come around. Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton joins me now. Hello, Senator. How are you?
I'm good, Trey. It's good to be on with you, and congratulations on the new show.
Well, thank you. I'm surprised you're surprised, but here we are on Sunday night. Look, you were one of the smartest colleagues I had, but you look a whole lot smarter now, even than you did this time a year ago. Why the reluctance of others to even entertain the lab leak theory when you were talking about it?
Well, Trey, I think there's a few reasons. One is that so many of America's elites are so committed to propping up the Chinese Communist Party. They have financial interests in China. They have ideological interests to keep globalism going forward. But another reason is because it was me saying it. And then Donald Trump started saying the same thing. And sometimes the mainstream media, as you know, simply refutes assertions if they don't like the person making the assertion, not based on the facts of the matter.
Well, I do like you, so I'm going to ask you a tough question because you did a lot better in science than I did. What is the relevance of someone sitting in Arkansas tonight or South Carolina, whether it was a bat sandwich or a gain-of-function experiment that went awry? What is the significance of that distinction?
Well, Trey, I think the American people deserve to know what caused the worst pandemic in a century. Look, China should be made to pay for their negligence and their deceitfulness at the outset of this pandemic, covering up its origins, not being open about what was happening in that lab in Wuhan. There's lots of things we could do to impose accountability on China. We could, for instance, work with their allies to ensure they're no longer getting sweetheart deals from international financial institutions like the World Bank. We could repeal the permanent most favored nation status we foolishly gave China 20 years ago. We could cut off visas to Chinese Communist Party officials and their princeling kids who love to come to America to go to school. But if it turns out that the Chinese Communist Party and their labs were responsible for a lab leak that caused this pandemic, just imagine what the American people will demand in terms of accountability. What I said will just scratch the surface, and the American people would be right to demand that kind of accountability.
Well, Tom, I served with you in the House, and I knew when they were criticizing you a year ago that you didn't care. I didn't know that you'd wind up being right. I just knew it didn't bother you. My best to Anna and your family, and thank you, Senator, for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Trey.